In this video, we're going to compare yesterday's release of the new ZRG sniper rifle to the two best long-range sniper rifles inside Warzone, the LW3 Tundra as well as the HDR. We're going to break down the stats of all three sniper rifles, comparing them to let you know which one you should be using inside Warzone. If you enjoy weapon comparisons, weapon stat breakdowns like this one, and overall tips and tricks for Warzone, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and also click that link in the description down below and follow us over on Twitch. We will be live streaming later on today with this new sniper rifle. So the first section of the video, we're going to talk about the ZRG sniper rifle and go through some of the main attachments for the gun by itself, and then we'll compare it to the other two snipers. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually this agency moderator or the agency suppressor. We all know the kind of benefits it gives you in terms of sound suppression, recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range. But how does it actually help bullet velocity? So on screen just now, you'll see the exact values you get for bullet velocity, and we found out that it works out about a 10% increase in bullet velocity overall when you add on the agency moderator. So it brings your bullet velocity from 693 meters per second to 763 meters per second, which is a decent bonus to bullet velocity, as we can see. But that is the agency moderator, and I just want to go over that. And then the other attachments I do want to go over as well is the barrel attachments. So as usual, we do have all of the Cold War barrel attachments available to us to use. And like I said in yesterday's class setup video, the combat recon is usually the best when it comes to bullet velocity on the Cold War guns. And on screen just now, you'll just see that I was correct in saying that in yesterday's video, because you'll see all the bullet velocity values for each and every barrel. So the extended barrel gives you a bullet velocity of 763 meters per second. The cavalry lancer doesn't actually help with bullet velocity whatsoever, so it doesn't change anything. The rapid fire barrel gives you the base bullet velocity again at 693 meters per second. Then the combat recon is the best at a bullet velocity value of 961 meters per second. The ultralight barrel actually hurts your bullet velocity and brings it down to 513 meters per second. And the Sigma Special gives you the same bullet velocity increase as the extended barrel, but also increases your fire rate. When it comes to fire rate bonuses on the ZRG sniper rifle, JGod has done testing on this to show that the fire rate bonus you get with any of these barrels is not significant enough to help. I think the maximum fire rate you can get is like an increase of 1%, so it's not worth using whatsoever. You definitely want to use that combat recon barrel. Another thing I want to talk about before we move on and compare these guns is the rear grips. We know that they work on the Cold War weapon, so the speed tape does help, the serpent wrap does help, the jungle grip helps, and the airborne elastic wrap helps. Now the airborne elastic wrap does help the absolute best out of all these attachments for the Cold War snipers, but is not significantly more than the speed tape, and that is why in the build we did test the airborne elastic wrap, but I would recommend using the speed tape because it doesn't give you any cons, whereas the elastic wrap does give you those cons. But if you want like the fastest aim down sight time regardless of any kind of minor changes, then you could definitely go for the airborne elastic wrap. It does help by like 1 millisecond from what we've tested, which is not a huge amount whatsoever. So with all of that out of the way now, I do want to show you the class setups we used to compare all of these guns and all their stats. So what we used for the ZRG sniper was the agency suppressor, combat recon barrel. We used the Royal and Cross 4x optic because that is the main one everyone seems to be using. Now you can't hold your breath with this for some reason. I don't know why it's bugged, but like I said, this is the one we tested. The rear grip, we used the airborne elastic wrap, and then we did use that 5-round mag because I do think it's really important to use this. You can either use the 5-round or the fast mags like we said in yesterday's video, but I think the 5-round mag is going to be the most important when it comes to the ZRG sniper. Now moving on to the Tundra, we used a very similar setup, combat recon, the Royal and Cross 4x, we used the airborne elastic wrap, and then we used the fast mags this time. So this is the class setup we used for the LW3 Tundra. It's pretty much the exact same class setup. And then lastly for the HDR, we used the mono suppressor, the HDR Pro barrel, the TAC laser. We left the optic at the base optic. Then we used the Stalker Scout stock. And then lastly, the presence of mind perk, because you can hold your breath for basically a full minute with this attachment. And then this is what I believe to be the best class setup for the HDR at the moment. And those are the three class setups we compared for these following stats. So like I said, those are the three snipers we chose to compare because the LW3 as well as the HDR has the best bullet velocity in Warzone. But on screen just now, you'll see the stats for all three weapons. The ZRG's on the very left, we have the LW3 Tundra down the middle, and then the HDR on the right. You can see the rate of fire on the ZRG sniper is actually the fastest out of all three of these snipers, and that was something that I didn't really expect. Then the ADS speed with the fully stacked attachments on all three of these guns is exactly the same for the LW3 and the ZRG sniper at 533 milliseconds, and the HDR comes out the slowest by about 60 milliseconds. The magazine size for all of these sniper rifles is exactly the same because we use attachments to make them very similar. The reload time on the LW3 Tundra is the absolute fastest at 2.2 seconds, then followed by the HDR, and the ZRG is the slowest at reloading your gun. And then lastly, when it comes to bullet velocity, the LW3 Tundra is still the fastest bullet velocity. So this is going to include the longest barrel as well as the mono or the agency suppressor. And you can see the ZRG sniper has a bullet velocity of 1,104 meters per second. The LW3 Tundra is 1,250 and the HDR is 1,200. And the ZRG does come out at a faster bullet velocity than the Kar98 and the SPR as well. And it comes out to a very similar bullet velocity to the AX50, but you do get a decent bullet velocity and you also get a pretty fast fire rate as well. So if you do like sniping pretty quick and then getting your next shot off really fast, if you don't really hit your headshots that well, then the ZRG sniper could be a great option for you, and the aim down sight time is not bad at all. The next thing I want to compare with all three of these sniper rifles is the idle sway. Not a lot of people actually go into detail when it comes to the idle sway on sniper rifles, but I do think it's really important for anyone who likes quick scoping or you like to scope in and don't really hold your breath that much. I do think it's important. And like I said, the idle sway that you'll see on screen just now will be with the fully stacked attachments. So you'll see the ZRG on the very left, the LW3 Tundra down the middle, and again the HDR on the right. And in my opinion, the HDR does probably the best in terms of idle sway. The ZRG sniper actually performs really well when it comes to idle sway as well, and that's quite surprising when it comes to Cold War snipers. And as you can see, the LW3 Tundra is just moving all over the place. It's kind of hard to control unless you're holding your breath, in my opinion. But like I said, when it comes to the ZRG sniper rifle, you're actually getting a decent idle sway there. In terms of where the ZRG fits into the meta, now it's not the best long-range sniper because it doesn't have the best bullet velocity. You can definitely hit your shots at a distance if this is your main sniper rifle, but you're going to want to choose the HDR or the LW3 Tundra because they have the better bullet velocity values. But it does perform really well, and it's pretty much very similar to the AX50 in terms of hitting your shots at a distance and compensating for that bullet drop as well. The gun I could compare this to the absolute most is the AX50. Now, if you want to see a comparison between the AX50 and the ZRG sniper, leave that down in the comments below and we'll be sure to make that video as well. But that is where I think this gun fits in, is that it's not the best sniper in the game, but it's definitely very viable if you want to use it. Let us know what you think about this new ZRG sniper down in the comments below. Have you leveled it up? Have you even unlocked it yet? And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and it takes us a while to put together videos like this. And lastly, follow us over on Twitch as we're trying to reach our goal of 100 followers over there as well. And we will be streaming later on today with this new sniper rifle, so you make sure you follow us over there. Thank you very much for watching.